Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to go through some questions with you on the interpretation of data on the common graphs. Okay, like pie graph, line graph. So let's turn to your textbook, question 3. Now, in question 3, they say that this diagram shows a pie chart, and the pie chart is the revenue of a publishing company. So express the revenue of the company earns from newspaper as a percentage of the total revenue of the company. So you can see that 180 degrees out of a total of 360 is the revenue from newspaper. So if you want to express the revenue as a percentage of the total revenue, you have to take 180 over everything, which is 360 times 100. So the answer will be this. The required percentage is 180 over 360 times 100, and the answer is 50%. Okay, the next one. Express the revenue the company earns from magazines as a percentage of the total revenue of the company. So we want the revenue earning from magazines. Now you can see that again is 72%. So it's 72% over a total of 360. And then since they want percentage, you must times 100. So 72 over 360 times 100, giving you 20%. Okay, let's take a look at part 3. Part 3 says that if the revenue the company earns from books is 17.5%. So the amount earning from books is 17.5% of the total revenue of the company. Find the value of X. So now, since it's 17.5, you know percent would mean over 100. So you take 17.5 over 100 because of the percentage, and times 360 degrees in order to find the value of X. So that's how to find X is 17.5%, which is over 100, times a total of 360 degrees, and that will be the equivalent angle subtended by X at the center of the pie chart, which since they want the value of X, there will be no units for X. X will be equals to 63. Okay, now let's move on to question 4. Now question 4 says that this is a bar graph illustrating the results of a survey conducted on cars at a traffic junction. So now, I already told you the horizontal axis will reflect the event, and the vertical axis will reflect the frequency. Okay, so bear in mind, the event is actually investigating the number of people in each car. So there are 20 cars with one person in each car, and then there are 25 cars with 2 persons in each car. Okay, and there are 20 cars with 3 people in each car. So that's what it means. So here they say find the total number of cars. Okay, so you look at the vertical axis, the total number of cars will be 20, adding to 25, adding to 20 again for the third bar, adding to 30 for the fourth bar, and adding to 25 for the fifth bar. So that's the answer for question 4. You just add up the height of the bar. The answer is there will be 120 cars. Next, you want to find the total number of people in all the cars. So you know that there are 20 cars with 1 person in each car. So the total number of people will be 20 times 1. And then looking at the second bar, there are 25 cars with 2 persons each. So the total number of people will be 25 times 2. So if you want the total number of people for all cars, will be 20 times 1 plus 25 times 2 plus 20 times 3 plus 30 times 4 plus 25 times 5. Okay, so the answer will be 375. Now again, when you present your answer, remember to write statement, working, and then followed by the answer. Now next, they say express the number of cars with 4 or more people. So 4 or more people will be referring to this bar and this bar. So they want the number of cars, which will be 30 plus 25. Okay, so that's 30 plus 25 will be 55. There will be 55 cars with 4 or more people, but they want it as a percentage of the total number of cars. So you take 55, divide by the total number of cars, which is 120, and then you times 100%. So expressing your answer as a fraction, 45 and 5/6%. Next, they want you to change this bar graph and illustrate it using a pie chart, but they do not need one. They do not want you to draw. Instead, they want the angle corresponding to each sector. So in this case, what you need to do is to find the number of cars corresponding to each event. For example, there are 20 cars corresponding to having one person in each car. So you take 20 times a total over the total number of cars, which is 120, times 360. That will be the size of the sector corresponding to this bar. Okay, so it will be 20 over 120, the total number of cars, times 360. So you will get 60 degrees corresponding to the sector that represents cars with 1 people. Okay, then how about cars with 2 people? So again, there are 25 cars. So you take 25 cars over a total of 120 cars times 360. So remember, I write the statement, angle of sector that represents number of cars with 2 people. So you take the height of the bar over 120 cars times 360, you get 75. So doing the same for all other bars, this is the answer. The angle of sector that represents cars with 3 people is 60 degrees, and the angle that of the sector that representing cars with 4 people is 90 degrees, and that the angle of sector that represents cars with 5 people will be 75 degrees. So please mark your answers. Next, we go on to question 5. Question 5 shows a line graph. Now, they say that this line graph shows the mass of the baby from birth, from 0 months to 6 months. So, as I've mentioned, the event is always on the horizontal axis, and the vertical axis will always show the frequency. Okay, so here they have the mass of the baby corresponding to the first month, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, and sixth month. So using the data from this line graph, construct a table showing the mass of the baby from birth, which is 0 months, to 6 months. Okay, so that's how we read. At 0 month, the mass of the baby is 3.2 kg. When the baby is 1 month, the mass is 3.4 kg. When it's 2 months, it's 3.8 kg. And when it's at the third month, it's actually 4 kg. So going in the same manner, you now transfer all this data into a table. So that's how the table will look like. The first row will represent the event, which is the month, and the second row will represent the frequency, which is the mass. Okay, that's how you read off the line graph and translate it into a table. Okay, next, find the percentage increase in the mass of the baby from the 4th to 6th month. So they want the increase. So you read off the mass at the 6th month, which is 5 kg, subtracting the mass at the 4th month, which is 4.2 kg. That will be the increase. Okay, so you will have to take the increase 5 minus 4.2 over the original value, which is 4.2 times 100%. So the answer is a fraction, 1 over 21%. So kindly mark your answers. Okay, now let's move on to question 6. Now this is the intermediate level of question. Here they say that there's a pie chart, and the pie chart shows the distribution of students and teachers in the school. 240 degrees correspond to the male students. This angle is not sure, it corresponds to the female students, and the pink sector corresponds to the teachers. So these two sectors, the angles are unknown. So let's read part A. There are 5 times as many female students as the teachers in the school. So which means that this is 5 times of the sector correspond to the teachers. Altogether, there will be 6 parts. 5 parts in the orange sector and 1 part in the pink sector. So they want you to find the angle of the sector that represents the number of teachers in the school. So we know that 6 parts will represent the size of this angle. So let's find what is the size of this angle by taking 360 minus 240. After that, we'll use 6 parts to represent this angle. If you want the teacher will correspond to 1 part of this angle. Okay, so that's what we do. We take 360 minus 240 degree to find out the angle of the sector that represent the female students and the teachers in the school. So after taking 360 minus 240, you get 120. So this is 6 parts. So if you want the angle of sector that represents the number of teachers in the school, okay, you will have to take 120 divided by 6 parts, which correspond to 1 part. And 1 part is 20 degrees. Okay, and 20 degrees will represent the angle of sector corresponding to the number of teachers in the school. Okay, next. There are 45 teachers in the school, which means that here 1 part is 45 teachers in the school. Find the number of female students in the school. So you know that female students is 5 parts. So since it's 5 parts, you will have to take 5 times 45 to get the number of female students. So there we are, 5 times 45, and that represents the number of female students in the school. The answer will be 225. Bear in mind, you do have to write statement, working, and then the answer. Okay, then next. Find the number of male students in the school. Okay, so you know that 20 degree will represent 45 teachers in the school. So 240 degree will represent how many people in the school. So you use proportion to solve. So the number of male students in the school will be 240 degree times 45 divided by 20. So the number of male students will be 520. Okay, next. If 2/3 of the teachers are women, express the number of females in the school as a percentage of the total school population. So first you have to add up the number of male students, female students, and teachers to find the total school population. Then since 2/3 of the teachers are women, we have to take 2/3 times 45 to find out the number of women teachers. Then add on to the number of female students to find out the total number of females in the school. So that's what we do. We add up the total school population and we get the answer as 810. So to know the number of female teachers in the school, we take 2/3 times the number of teachers. That will give you 30 female teachers. Then this is to be added on. If you want to find the number of females in the school, you have to take the female teachers plus the female students. So altogether, the total number of females will be 255. So the required percentage will be the total number of females in the school over the total population of the school times 100%. So the answer is 31, 13 over 27%. Next, we go on to question 10, the advanced level. Here, Kate and Kairu each conducts a survey among 200 Singaporeans to find out whether they like shopping. So this is the data collected. And then you're supposed to suggest 2 reasons to explain why is there a discrepancy between the 2 sets of data. So you can see for Kate's data, 128 people love shopping, but Kairu's data showed very few people love shopping. And here, Kate's data show 25 people dislike shopping, but Kairu's data show a lot of people dislike shopping. And then they both interviewed the same total number of people, which is 200. Now, those who are neutral also, you can see there's a difference here. So they want you to explain why is it that both sets of data are different. So this one is a common sense question. A possible reason will be the majority of the people, the respondents in Kate's survey are most likely females, and females love shopping, while those in Kairu's survey are more males. So most likely males, because males don't really like shopping. Okay, another possible reason, a second reason would be Kate and Kairu might have conducted their surveys at different locations. So if you conduct your survey at Orchard Road, most people will love shopping. But if you conduct your survey at a housing estate, most people don't quite like shopping. Okay, so these are 2 possible reasons. Of course, I do accept other answers that are logical. Okay, let's go on to question 11. Here shows the temperature versus month across 2 countries, country X and country Y. So the month that we are concerned with is from January to June, and we measure the temperatures at the 2 countries. So the conclusion is Nora says that the temperature in country X, okay, because of the large wave, change more drastically than those temperatures in country Y, right? Because the swing here is less, so she concludes that here the temperatures just change more drastically than the temperatures here. So asking whether you agree with her. And then of course you have to explain your answers. Now do look carefully. The scale in the first graph starts from 23 degrees. So the temperature range in country X is from 23 to 33. But then the scale in country Y starts from 0. But if you were to study, the temperature range is around the same. It's from 25 all the way to 35. So the range in both countries is about the same. Here is from 24 to 33. Here is from 26 to about 35. Okay? So of course, that would mean that Nora's conclusion is wrong. Okay? And then why is because for the first graph, the scale of temperature starts from 23 to 33. So the graph looks bigger, and Nora misinterprets that the temperatures actually change more drastically. Okay? But in actual fact, it's not. So how are you going to write the statement? You can write it as such. No, I do not agree with Nora. The temperatures in both countries actually range around 24 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. Temperatures in country X seem to change more drastically than country Y because the vertical axis shows the temperature of country X starting from 23 degrees instead of 0 degrees. So in a very short statement of 2 or 3, you can explain your answer. Our last question will be challenge yourself. So here the table shows rise, pulse rate and breathing rate after 10 minutes of each activity. So now I told you this is the frequency table. The event is always found in the first column. Okay, so you have walking, running, jogging, swimming. This is the event. And then here is the frequency. Okay, here is the frequency for pulse rate and here is the frequency for breathing rate. So they ask you which one is a better way to represent the above data and hence draw the graph. So if you can still remember what I told you, events must always be on the horizontal axis and not on the vertical axis. On the vertical axis, we will use frequency for the vertical axis. So which graph would you choose as a better graph? Of course this graph, because for the first graph, the event is actually on the horizontal axis. So how are you going to draw these two data on here? So for example, you should, for example, for walking, you should draw two bars. One bar corresponding to 85. Okay, so you should draw 85 over here. And then one bar correspond to the breathing rate. So you should draw two bars with different colors side by side joining together on top of the stroke of walking. And the same for running. You should draw two bars of different colors because one is the pulse rate and one is the breathing rate on top of running. Okay, so the first bar will be 145 somewhere here, and then the second bar will be 45, which will be somewhere here, close to 50. Okay, so your graph would look like this. Yes, walking, two color bars. Okay, the first gray color represents the pulse rate and the dark gray color represents the breathing rate. So you should draw your graph in this way. So good, we have finished the first section of our exercise, which requires us to interpret the different types of graph.